Hello everyone, how we doing today? And bam! Ayo! Oh, why is my camera looking like that? Um, why is it doing this thing? I guess we just deal with it. Hey, Splungles, how we doing? Hey, Janther, Rolkus, Fishy, Griffin, Taters, how we all doing? Splangles. So today I think I'm just gonna do a bit of a short one. And I think I have the perfect game to play. I'm not sure if we have any. What's up? What's up? What's happening here? What's doing? Hmm. There we go. Hmm. You're very cute. Um, and just as a thank you to everyone that you're following, there is a cheeky. You might have to refresh because I did it during the start screen because I am super with it. But if you everyone that follows has access to a special free emote, uh, which I think everyone will be pleased with. Um, but yeah, no. And then if you're a subscriber, there's a couple emotes there from the amazing Danger Dan, which we all are aware of, and he's a cool guy. Um, yeah, I don't really who. So yeah, yep, the guy that's permanently on one. 100%. 100% he's on one. Uh, look, she might kill me that I've moved that into the free and that it's for everyone. Everyone can do that one now. I'm I'm pleased with it though. So feel free to spam it whatever you want. Spam it here, spam it wherever. uh, also, I feel maybe it was just because there wasn't much light. There we go. I feel like my camera was trying to do something with the low light compensation, but it's not very good. I got a new webcam actually. I got the Razer Kaio V2X, so it's meant to be 1440p, 60 frames per second, but I think at the moment it's only letting me do 1080 at 60 frames. So, but I got it on the cheap, so I thought, you know what, fuck it, we'll give it a whirl. But yeah, yeah. No, how's everyone doing? I know it's been a bit of a while since I've streamed. I was a bit of a, I was just saying to Danny before, I was in a bit of a weird headspace in the past week. I was super exhausted from work, so I just yeah got in my own head. Um, I thought I'd just take some time to just check myself before I wreck myself. Uh, but no, I'm back. I'm here. I'm here. Yeah, but yeah, work got a bit crazy, so he is. But no, the I think the last stream that I did was Resi Evil 9, which was really cool. And I played it a few times since then as well, and I know Rolkus has. Uh, yeah, 9. Yeah, yep. But no, we are gonna just I think jump straight into it. kind of just want to play something. Um, yeah, it's so stupid. Uh, I've been super excited for this ever since I found out about it because it's just when my boss at work linked it to me, I'd immediately wish listed it, and then about 20 minutes ago, I was like, you know what, fuck it, I'm gonna stream today, and I bought it and I downloaded it, and here we are. So we are gonna play some Thomas and Friends Wonders of Sodor. I believe that's how Sodor is announced. Pronounced. Anyway, so we're gonna play a Thomas the Tank Engine game today. uh, so yeah, we're just gonna go straight into it. Straight into it. Hey Lily, welcome in. How we doing? Oh, uh, of course. Thank you. Thank you, game. Okay, there we go. Lily, I missed you, and I missed. Yeah, I was just saying before. I'm not sure if you were here and you heard that I just was got into my own head. Um, in the past week, work was stressful, so I thought I'd just tap out for a little bit and then come back and go into it hard. I'm not gonna pause. Hey Jessica, welcome in. How we doing? Also, when my camera is small like this, it looks really clear, crystal clear. Better than when it's full screen. Anyway, so this is Thomas the Tank Engine. I get to choose my character. Okay, does it really matter? Which was the most ridiculous? Oh my god, thank you, Jessica. Oh, fuck, what's it called? Thomas and... No? And... Fuck, is it even... Okay, music. Pause, bud. Fuck, what's the game called? Thomas and Friends. That's what I searched for. Thomas and Friends. Wonders. There we go. It is my wanted stream. Which generic band? I'm the one with the crazy hair. Fuck, this is bright. Alright. Press any button. No. I don't want to register, and I don't want to be asked again. Yeah, it's not. As soon as I heard it, I was like, oh, we'll hear Biggie in a second. No. No. No, we will not. Oh. Look at him go.
Hello there, and welcome to Farquhar Station. Before you can start your adventures on the island of Sodor, you will need to learn how to drive one of my engines. And I could think of none better than Thomas. In this short introduction, you will be taken through every step needed to make sure that Thomas is a really useful engine. And I'm sure you'll be an expert driver in no time. Would you like to learn how to drive Thomas? Press the yes button to continue learning how to play. Or if you feel you are ready, press the no button to begin exploring Sodor. You can play this introduction again at any time by choosing the introduction to Sodor.
It's really unnerving how Thomas is just looking at us like that. Also, did they change this dude? Because when I last watched Thomas the Tank Engine, and yes, this was like, I don't know, 25 years ago or something, he was the fat controller. And obviously that has changed because it's not very nice. But that's what his name was back then, surely. And they've given him a name, and I don't know what it is now. It popped up before. Yeah, now he's just the slap. Yeah, he's looking good. He's looking good, and Thomas has just given us those eyes. Would we like to learn how to drive, Thomas? Yes or no? Yes.
Hello, driver. Climb on board, and we can get started.
Is is that how Thomas sounds now?
Follow the
Oh,
markers in front of you, as they will guide you to Thomas's cab steps.
oh, does this have a face on it too? Okay, so this world is pretty. Now it's got a face on it. I don't. Okay, let's have a look. Options, settings, display. Nothing else. Okay. Uh. Oh. Okay. I was just in that one. Hidden gameplay. Oh my god. Look at all these train settings. Cool. Now I'll understand what's what. I believe it is somewhat open world as well. Apparently on this Steam store description you can find collectibles and secrets and things, so that was weird. Go heat up a pizza and then stop being hungry, and then I can copia while eating. Yeah, so Zuna also. So Zuna yesterday ran out. She finished work and she's like, I'm just gonna go out for a second. Anyway, she came back with a Switch 2 and just to play Pacopia. So, Do we find the original Fat Control? I don't know, Lily. I don't know. Where's Fishy? As in Fish Lips? Or is that a character? I might be a fake fan. Also, this didn't sound like Thomas, right? But, man, he's just blinking. Why is he looking at me like that? You don't have to. Oh yeah, look at this dude. Is he also gonna look at me? Oh. No. So yeah, so this universe, this world is pretty inconsistent with what has a face and what doesn't. We saw the bus have a face on it at the start. Oh my god, what is this? HUD. What do we got? Menu on tab. It doesn't do anything. Or is it enter? Nope. Okay. We got action points, I assume in the top right. Alright.
Before you can climb the steps, you will need to check if the cab door is open. If you can see that the cab door is closed, you can open it by first looking at it and then pressing the button shown on the screen.
This is not meant for kids.
This is Thomas's cab.
Where's that
Here
flashlight?
you will learn the controls needed to drive Thomas. Let's get started by first moving over to the driving position. If you want...
No, I want to go back.
There are many locations on the railways of Sodor where lines separate or join together. These involve a network of points that set the direction the train will be travelling. On the main line, most of these points are controlled by the closest signal box. However, There are yards and junctions that require the points to be set manually. Thomas's friends Annie and Clarabelle are waiting at the station platform. In order to reach Annie and Clarabelle, you will first need to switch the points so that it sets the correct track. You can set the points by climbing down out of the cab, walking over and interacting with it.
Oh, so I've got it. I've got it. Oh. Here we go. Choo-choo. Yeah, Janta, what pizza are we going? What are you doing? So this is the Fat Controller's real name. Right, okay. Oh. Okay.
You can also change the
How do I
points
stop?
on the map,
How do I stop?
which can be accessed by pressing the key shown now.
I can't. No, oh wait, no, okay, I keep on going.
Excellent work
I thought I had
so
to get out
far.
there.
The junction is now correctly set.
Is it?
So it is time to move Thomas out of the siding and over to Annie and Clarabelle.
It's too involved for me, Lily. I don't know what's
To
happening.
move Thomas forward, press and hold the button shown now on the screen to increase the
Spacebar
throttle.
for whistle.
Well done. You're doing a good job so far.
Thanks. Let's speed it up. Oh, I can zoom all the way in.
To slow Thomas down,
Fuck.
press and hold the button shown to begin applying the brakes.
Oh no, I missed the spot. Did I miss? Oh. Wait. Was I meant to be back here? Perfect. Look at that.
As you can see, the throttle has returned to 0. This means that Thomas is now ready to travel in either forward or reverse.
Amazing.
To make Thomas reverse, tap the control shown on screen until the direction arrow on the hood points.
Okay. Yeah, this is...
Remember to slow down when approaching Annie and Clarabelle.
No.
You should be going at no more than 5 miles per hour when attempting to couple to coaching stock and troublesome trucks.
Fuck, what's 5 miles per hour? Don't give me the option to change and then use words. If I slow down to 10, there we go. Oh no, that's so far. They're 2, they're 4, they're 6, they're 8, shunting tracks and hauling freight. God damn it, Lily. Okay. Like 8Ks, okay. Oh, I fucked him.
Hello, Annie. Hello, Clarabelle.
Hello, Thomas. To allow passengers to climb aboard, you will first need to open the passenger doors using the controls shown on the screen.
Of course. Oh, get in. Enter Annie and Clarabelle. Go on.
There are other cameras available to use during your adventures on Sodor. Let's look at another one now.
I want first person.
Using the button shown on screen, change to the free camera.
What's that? The 8 key.
You are now using the free
Oh,
camera.
and I gotta use the
With this
fucking
camera,
arrow keys
you
like
can
a.
freely
ugh.
fly around to wherever you'd like. You are still able to fully control your train whilst using this camera, and
Wait.
it's very useful for getting a good look at your surroundings.
Sure. Oh, okay, so I can't. You got free reign, but you don't have free reign.
Move the camera around.
What are these
so
guys
it is
doing?
Looking at Thomas.
Pigs vs cows. Why? Why is this a thing? Turn the camera. Look at Thomas. I'm looking at him. God. Those are not trains, those are animals. Jantha, what pizza did you cook, by the way?
Now move the camera so that it is looking at me. Sir Topham Hatt.
Of course. Of course, Sir Topham Hatt. Yes.
Now return to the inside camera view using the button shown here. Remember, you can drive Thomas from both the inside cab view and the outside camera you were shown earlier.
Okay. What's this?
Good job.
Oh, is this like an action
It
one?
looks like
What
everyone
are these
has
cameras?
boarded now.
Oh, these
You
are
can go
the
ahead
cameras
and
for
close
the...
passenger doors using the controls shown here.
So this one's for Thomas. Then this one is for Annie. And then... Oh no, this same button goes between whatever you're attached to. Okay. Alright. You've all aborted?
You've got a green signal, so you're ready to continue to the next station. Increase the throttle once again to move Thomas forward.
Don't need to tell me twice. Let's go. Oh my god. Hackenbeck Station. God, what are these names? I don't remember the names being a thing. The station names? Anyway. A kid would be so done with this. 100% Lily. 100%. I made homemade pizza yesterday, so I had leftover for today. Ham, salami, cheese, tomato paste, all on the souvlaki base. Yum! I had a cheese toast. Nice. Oh, why have I got the mouse? Oh, oh. Camera didn't like whatever that was doing. If I press 8... Oh, look at me go. Action camera.
Remember to slow down as you approach a station you want to stop at, so that you come to a safe stop.
Where's the traffic? I want to see cars. Oh, fuck. Oh. Oh? Get out.
Good work.
Wait.
Now open the passenger doors to allow the passengers to start boarding.
What button's that? T? No. U, of course. Oh, because if I look this way, I can open... Alright.
Splendid job.
Thanks, Lily.
It looks like you and Thomas make a great team. And I'm certain you will be an expert driver in no time. You're a great driver.
Thanks.
I can't wait to start our adventures together.
Wasn't that an adventure? Wasn't that an adventure? Okay. Remember, not all engines are built the same, but all are useful in their own way. Thomas the
Thomas
tank engine.
and Gordon. Thomas is a tank engine who lives at the big station on the island of Sodor. He has 6 small wheels, a short stumpy funnel, a short stumpy boiler, and a short stumpy dome. He is a fussy little engine too, always pulling coaches about, getting them ready for the big engines to take on long journeys. And when trains arrive at the station, he pulls the empty coaches away so that the big engines can go and rest. Thomas thinks no engine works as hard as he does. He
What are
loves
these
playing
faces?
tricks on them, especially Gordon, the biggest and proudest engine of all.
Choo choo. Hey, Zuna.
Thomas likes whistling cheekily at him.
Wake up, lazy bones. Why don't you work hard like me?
Get fucked, George. I don't know who can, but yeah.
One morning, Thomas found it hard to wake up. His fire went out and there wasn't enough steam. It was nearly time for the express, but the coaches weren't ready. At last, Thomas started.
Why does he look high? He looks like he's just taking a real fat blunt. I'm Thomas the Tank Engine, man. Whoa.
He fussed into the station where Gordon was waiting.
Yeah, I remember that clip.
Hurry up, you, said Gordon, and bring me my coaches.
Hurry yourself, replied Thomas.
Yes, said Gordon, I will.
What? Ringo was a bit of this game's budget. Is it? Oh, fuck. George is gone. Is it a race? Not doing too good. Remember that one episode when his fire went up? Maybe he was. Yeah, Good. Get shit on, George. Remember that one episode where they straight up silver train behind a brick wall? Done with it. Oh, fuck. No. Oh, no. Oh, no. Oh, no. So I gotta go back. And it's giving me flashbacks to dealing with the Thomas Toys R Us and the fact that suppliers never got the numbers right. Let's watch trains. Am I meant to? Huh? I wish some of these waypoints would go away. So I'd go back. Oh, okay. Of course. Of course. Oh, yep, of course. Yep. Oh, because Thomas is... Ah, yeah. Look at him go. Look at him go. No, it should slow down. It should slow down. Ugh! Ugh! Huh. Oh, wrong way. Okay. Just listen to your waypoints, bestie. Marty, did you choose this game because you wanted to hear a diesel engine and can't at the moment due to petrol prices? Dude, petrol prices are fucked. I'm just glad that I don't actually have to drive anywhere for my job, or really have to drive anywhere. But it would... Anyone that has to drive... Oh, I'm going too fast. I'm going too fast. Ugh. Yep, we're good. Oh, I've got to push. Okay. We don't even drive walkies. You're walking now, Zuna, aren't you? Oh, you... Wait. Can't hear me. Right, yep. I want to cuddle ship. Yeah, he's asleep right now. I had to double check. Yeah, petrol prices are just stupid at the moment. I think I saw somewhere they were like $4. I have to drive my diesel rest every day for work. Roast. Oh fuck, too fast. I was reading chat. It's not a game for chat. Stop. Stop. Am I good? Aced it. Am I meant to go forward and then... back? I'm gonna do that. Let's do that. If that waiting for road train. Ah, bus. Okay. Alright. Let's stop. Let's reverse. Hopefully. I'm not actually sure if I'm going to turn here. Okay. Why can I click? This is a kid's game and I don't know what the fuck I'm doing. Okay, we go forward. Because I need to go over to the ore. What is this? It's the menu. Okay. Am I meant to get out or am I meant to keep on? Stop at location as indicated. That's further up, right? Go back to that waypoint. The one that was here? Because that waypoint's gone now. Okay, yep. Oh yeah, but no, but it's there again. Oh wait, am I meant to... How do you... And stop and wait. Okay. Womp womp. Zuna. But now it's telling me stop and wait back there. Am I meant to keep on going? Is this a kid's game? I don't know. Okay, we will... Oh, is it so George can come up and get the front? Yeah. Am I meant to go? Surely not. Surely I don't have to run all the way over here to get George to go. That's the train. Hey man, how we doing? Welcome in. Gordon? Not George. Lily. Thank you. Because I've been calling him George. Is there a George? Or am I just making up names? Okay, yep. Wrong side. This side. Motherfucking Thomas. Motherfucking Thomas. Wait. There we go. Marty, what the fuck is this? Hey, fishy, welcome in. So that wasn't it. That wasn't it. I wasn't meant to go and get it. What? Okay. So It's telling me to... This is where I'm meant to stop. Clearly, no, I'm listening, I swear. But then what's this bit... Hello, Thomas. What's this big yellow one over to the right that is just above my head? Oh, too fast, too fast, too fast. Slow down. But it says stop at location as indicated, 795 meters. You know what? Let's give it a whirl. Let's give it a whirl, shall we? We're not listening to the waypoints. I should listen to the waypoints. Hello. I know, Chip. Hello. How we doing? Is it because I'm giving Thomas attention, not you?
Thomas and Gordon.
Why did it start again? I clicked restart scenario, not
Thomas
restart
is a
from
tank
checkpoint.
engine who lives at the big station on the island of Sodor.
Died in the tutorial. Honestly, taters.
He has 6 small wheels, a short stumpy funnel, a short stumpy boiler, and a short stumpy dome. He is a fussy little engine too, always pulling coaches about, getting them ready for the big engines to take on long journeys. And when trains arrive at the station, he pulls the empty coaches away so that the big engines can go and rest. Thomas thinks no engine works as hard as he does. He loves playing tricks on them, especially Gordon, the biggest and proudest engine of all. Thomas likes whistling cheekily at him. Wake up, lazy bones! Why don't you work hard like me?
Is that what he said before, or is that different? He didn't say that before, did he? I don't
One
think he did.
morning, Thomas found it hard to wake up. His fire went out, and there wasn't enough steam.
Yeah, if that controller could get it.
It was nearly time for the express, but the coaches weren't ready. At last, Thomas started.
No idea, FP. No idea. I thought it was kids, but apparently it's not kids. I don't know.
He fussed into the station where Gordon was waiting.
It's not fishy.
Hurry up, you,
Full game.
Said Gordon.
and bring me my coaches.
Hurry yourself, replied Thomas. Yes, said Gordon. I will.
No, it is standalone. It is standalone. It's unrelated to Train Sim. Okay. So, I go forward. Fuck you, Gordon. It's for autistic. It's for the autistic adults. I'm very artistic, thank you. Okay, I need to slow down. I need to scooch. Scooching. Scooch harder. Okay. Oh, I scooched. Scooched. Okay, back. So you're meant to get right on the points then. Right? So I turn here. Okay, yeah, these waypoints are all confusing. So you're meant to basically stop right on them then. Okay, I gotta remember I'm going too fast. Very like, positive reviews only on stick up 100%. Oh no, I'm still going too fast. I should have been stopping before. Maybe. No, we're good. We're good. We're Gucci. Cool. Onwards. Oh, is it actually by the same people that did Train Sim World? Okay. Oh, too fast. There we go. Okay, and then we go. Hey, Aragon. Aragon, get your biddies out of here. I don't need them, but I appreciate it, but stop it. Stop. Yes, this is a standalone expansion. Right, okay. Aragon. I thought it was its own thing. Had no idea. Okay. And then where it says 80, that's where I stop. Right? But then what's the stop and wait that's at 200 and... Oh, fuck. Yeah, no, I get it. Stop. Yep. Stop yelling at me, game. Okay. But then I'm also meant to stop here. And then I'm also meant to... Go. So here, it's telling me to go. But last time I goed, it failed. But then it's telling me at this 1.7 to 32 up the top there, I walked there, and that was... But no, Lily, I went backwards and it failed. Last time. Didn't it? It says go, then you can go. Yeah, but I'm going backwards. And this is what happened last time. Wasn't it? Maybe it's because I went too far over, maybe. How the fuck am I meant to get over there? I don't know how I'm getting over there. Oh, I'm playing Thomas the Tank Engine. Oh, don't give me this. You just walked in the door.
Yeah.
Don't give me this sass. Press. Hang on. I'm missing chat. You're making me miss chat. Press select and make sure your route is set to cross over to the other way start markers. Press select? What's the select button, fish? What's this? Oh, no, doors. No, wrong doors. Okay. The points have been set from the box. You're good to move to the waypoint. Am I? But if I go backwards, I'm not... That's a different place. I've got to go forward, don't I? So confused. Okay. Beauties. Gross. Get out of here. So. But I don't have that waypoint here anymore. Oh, I'm so confused. This game is nuts. Okay. Hang on. Let's go. Free mode. We got free mode hit. No, stop. Thank you. This should be... Oh, I've got to use the fucking arrow keys. That's right. So. This one is where it wants me to go to. Right? Hey Gubs, how we doing? Is that the Marty from The Night Shift? No, I don't think I was in... Oh, no shit, I was. I wasn't it. Never mind. Yeah. More autistics to the yard. Yes. So... Oh, does it just want me to reverse all the way back? Oh, it does. This game is very unclear. Okay. So I reverse all the way back here, and then I ram Gordon? Yeah, look at that. Okay. Hold shift to... Thanks, Churcher. Also, welcome in. I saw your message before, and I... Okay, so I just basically got to reverse all the way. Okay. Here I go. It makes perfect sense if you understand how trains work. Well, Fishy, no, I didn't know that was what I had to do, because previously when I've done something that I thought I needed to do, it would just kick me out. Oh my god, chat, stop. Marty apparently missed the train-tism. Zuna, I got the Lego-tism, the Star Wars-tism. That's a lot of tisms. I could start collecting trains. No. Chat's gone too fast. I can't. I'll leave Ewoks. Yes. Train Legotism. Honestly, there was a time when I thought about getting the Lego trains. Then the issue was... That's so dark. Okay, hang on. There's a flashlight. There. Oh. Jesus. Oh, wait, no. Stop. Okay, that was a lot. That was a lot. Jessica. Stop it, Jess. Lego trains go hard. Yes. Oh my god, I've missed out on some. Also, not Maddie, more important than trains. Did you see Mandy's Marty PJs? Ooh, I did. That was really cool. How? Because that was in the hospital game that, I think I can go. It says go. So I hope I can go. How now brown cow? Yeah. Yeah, I saw it on... I didn't see it on Scotches, but I saw the image. Oh, am I going too fast? Fucking pitch black in here. Okay. Oh. Okay, we're good. Look at that. This is first try, by the way. First try. I know how trains work. They go forward, they go backwards, they cannot go side to side. So in the hospital game, you can use a command to get into onesies, and it uses your Twitch. And actually just check. Oh, that is hilarious. We'll go two. Come on. Bump. The
Gordon
shiftiest
hadn't
eyes.
forgiven Thomas for waking him up from this nap. As soon as the last passenger had climbed on board, he started up so quickly that there was no time to uncouple Thomas.
Why is he shifty-eyeing us? Okay, it's the next. Oh, am I? No, I'm still. Okay. I don't think I'm Gordon. No, I think I'm Thomas still. No, oh no, I am Gordon now. Okay. Yeah. Choo choo. When Thomas isn't a nuclear bomb. Yeah. He's.
Stop! Stop! Come on, keep up, called Gordon.
Why can't Thomas just unsheath himself? No, unlatch himself. I'm going. Oh, just get Thomas to chuck a Yui, mate. Okay, oh, I'm going too fast. Oh no, am I going too fast? No, this is fine. We're good. We're good. What? No. Uncouple. Uncouple? Uncoupled. Why can't Thomas uncouple himself? That's what I said. That's what I said? George is gone. George is gone. Quick. Quick boy. I kind of do wish that there were some cars driving around. That'd be kind of cool. You can't just uncouple while moving, Marty. Holy shit, your safe working pools would be gone so quick. Fish, I don't know. Is there lights? Oh. Gordon's going quick. Gordon's a quick boy. Look at him. Oh, he's fucking herb as well. Angle. Angle is the word.
Hurry, hurry, hurry! Laughed Gordon. Poor Thomas was going faster than he had ever gone before. He was out of breath and his wheels hurt him, but he had to go on.
This is great. This is great. You don't understand, babe. This is amazing. Don't give me this look. Are you gonna play Pocopia? Pocopia? Poco. You're gonna play Switch 2. Okay. Thomas is being forced into a situation, yes. Yes, yes, yes. Kushu full speed, baby. Yeah, he's going. He's going, and the world is really nice as well. It actually, it's a bit of a shame that I can't zoom out more for it to give that kind of like childlike, you're playing with a toy thing. Yeah, Pocopia is the new Pokemon Animal Crossing. Yeah. So Zuna picked one up yesterday. Oh my god. I'm gonna tell Marty to buy me a Switch 2. Oh, George. Gordon. He's gone. Did those trains not have faces? I didn't see a face on them. Why don't these carriages have faces on them? Annie and Claude did. Right, he didn't even buy me a Switch 2. Yeah. But damn right. Buy your own Switch. Zuna? Oh, you did. Oh, you got it? Yeah, it's... Yeah. Yeah, well, Zuna just... I think if I wasn't streaming, Zuna would be playing it on the couch behind me. I feel like you probably could. You're not in the camera view. But she's just gone into the office to play with the Switch too. It's frankly kind of rude because I can't use the Flash TV. You can use... Oh, wait, no, because then the audio. You could probably... I was going to say turn it down, but... Oh my god. Oh my god. It said stop and wait. It said stop and wait. Oh, I'm back here? It took forever to get there. Oh, man. That's okay. Trains take a while to stop. Yeah, look. I didn't know that the stop was coming up. Okay. Oh, wait. It just said move under speed limit.
Stop! Stop!
Where the fuck's the speed? Oh, is the 40...
Come on, keep up, called Gordon.
So where it says 40 here, that's the speed limit? Is that what this is? I'm gonna test it out. If I get the speed limit bonus... No, okay, fuck you. Alright, full speed. Sorry, did not give you a warning. I don't know. I don't know. These are steam locomotives. You're gonna need to be braking from like a couple of kilometers out, I'm guessing. Yeah, Oh, you know what it is? No. These speed limits are in miles? Maybe? And because I'm in kilometers, I don't know what the equal of 145... Oh. No, the bottom right is in kilometers, but the waypoints I don't think... or like, sorry, the speed... So like, hang on, we'll go this one. Okay, I don't know. The ones that are just circles, it had 145 in it, and the number didn't change, so I have a feeling that that is still miles per hour? I don't know. Yeah, no. Oh. Right. So I don't actually know. I don't know what this is. Is that the miles? I don't know. I don't know. What is it?
Hurry, hurry! Laughed Gordon.
This.
Poor Thomas was going faster than he had ever gone before. He was out of breath and his wheels hurt him.
It's really interesting to
Had
see
to go
someone's
on.
brain capacity goes down as soon as they stream. Zuna? What? Whatever. Yeah, but is that actually the speed limit? Because I don't know how I'm getting to that. How am I getting to there? I'm holding down W. I don't know how I would get to the actual speed limit. I've said messed up things on stream before, don't worry. You say... Oh, no, so do I. I was going to be like, you say messed up things all the time, but no, so do I.
Express coming through.
Okay. Alright,
Stop,
Fishy, we're not all... I'm learning the train-tism, thank you. I'm learning it. Thank you for teaching me. I appreciate I appreciate it. No, look, no, Fish. I'm not attacking, I'm just saying. I'm saying thank you. Okay, so 2 kilometers out. When I hit this go sign, I'm going to start slowing down. How about that? How about that? Yeah, so you see this one here. It says 32 on it. I don't know what this 32 is. Well, fishy, you're right, eh? It takes a while to slow down. I'd imagine that speed limits are based on the section track, not the mission. So it's just a hard limit on how fast. Yeah, okay. Is that 32 kilometers per hour, though? Oh, I'm still quite distance away. Don't even think about pressing the power button on the computer, you goose. Stop it. Okay, we're almost there. This is the first try as well. We've basically been able to do this. Don't press the button. No, Griffin, stop. Stop it, Griffin. We've basically been able to play this game in one... We haven't failed yet, which is good. Chip, stop. Don't even... Keep going. Lower speed. Also, this isn't... He keeps on going for the... Oh! 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 Just made the speed limit. Look at that. I got... Wait, why does it want me to go 113? I ain't doing 113. No. Guys, no. Chip, don't press the button. Alright. First try.
At last,
Look at that.
they stopped at a station.
Well, little Thomas,
Chuckled Gordon.
No.
now you know what hard work means, don't you?
Thomas was uncoupled, and he felt very silly and exhausted.
First try.
Poor Thomas puffed slowly away to rest, and had a long, long drink. After that, he was careful to never be cheeky to Gordon again.
No. Actual time, see? 7 minutes. Oh. Don't look at this one. Don't... You can't barely see it. Hang on. So, is the score... The score's just the score. You don't actually do anything with that, right? I assume. Oh, we're going fishing. Did you know that Thomas is based off the real-life LBSC E2 steam locomotive?
Thomas goes fishing. When Thomas puffed along his branch line, he always looked forward to something special. The sight of the river. As he rumbled over the bridge, he would see people fishing. Thomas often wanted to stay and watch. One day, Thomas stopped as usual to take on water at the station by the river. Out of order? Bother! I'm thirsty. Never mind, Thomas, said his driver. We'll get some water from the river. They found a bucket and some rope and went to the bridge.
Alright. What have I missed? I bet every other player of this game was like, yes, of course I knew that. And there's me being like, Thomas is a train? Ow, Chip, stop biting my arm. Okay. Alright. Ow. And now I've got a better webcam. You guys can see Chip's ferocity in high definition. Have you been, Marty? Haven't seen you around a bit. Yeah, I think last week I was just exhausted from work a bit, and I just wanted to take a break. I think from a few things. So, yeah. Ooh, okay. There you go. Whatever. Can you? No, you just want it down. Don't bite my hand. But you know, I'm good. I'm good. I'm just yeah, less exhausted at the moment. But yeah, last week I was ruined. I'd finished work and then I just didn't want to do anything. So yeah, thanks for asking though. Hope you're well as well, Scots. Hope you're feeling better. I think last time we were chatting, you were sick. So oh, Chip, you're making me miss chat. Stop. Just so you know, Marty, regarding braking, I spend almost every day at work never using more than half surface zone. Unless there's something fucked, as you can imagine. Fish! That sounds really cool. Don't know what a surface zone is. And I don't know what half a surface zone is. But it sounds really cool. I love Chip. What a blessed creature. Thomas is a Aragon, it's news to me as well. Stop. Can you? What's up? What do you want? Do you want a hand? Come in. Ah. Okay. That's fair, mate. You said, yeah. Yeah, not so much deliverables. It's just a lot of work. So yeah, but a bit of stress, but we're all good. We're all good. Meds have made me function way better. I've even gotten back to my pre-chronic. Ah, that's awesome, Lily. That's congratulations. Yeah, I'm a lot better despite getting sick at work. Trade fair. I've accrued a week off of time and loop. Perfect. Also booked flights and accommodation for Brizzy on the 12th and 14th of June. How exciting. You okay? You got little fangs out. Everyone can see your little fangs. So we had brakes up to max to slow down. I wouldn't go more than halfway. Where you had brakes? Okay. What's happening? Oh, God. No, my mouse. No, the music. You've caused mayhem. Get out of here. Nope, that wasn't music. Gotchi. What? Excuse me? Gotchi. What are you doing? God, that came at the worst time. Ow, my hand. Hey, Scotchy. God dang it. No, the music is actually playing now. God damn it. Scotchy, welcome in. How was, what are you doing? You're doing Dinos. Sorry, I've got Thomas on the brain. How was that? How was Dinos? How was Dinos? Hey, Sign, how you doing? Max, welcome in. Grimbo. Mandy, hello. Yes, I saw the fit. Fish was telling me all about it. Thank you for the follow. Hey, Monster Kitty, welcome in. Oh, Queenie, hey, how you doing? Do not stop it. Taters, hey yo. Look at my. No, I looked at the onesie. It looks really cool. Looks really cool. Hope you well. No, I'm doing good, Scotch. You're doing good. I was just saying before that last week was really stressy at work, so I didn't have much energy to do anything at all. So, you know, you get into your head a bit when you're like that, so I didn't really feel like doing much at all. So I felt bad for Zuna as well. So, yeah, so bit down in the dumps, but this week is good. Less stressy because I'm caring a little bit less. There's that. Not caring enough to not get fired or not get paid at all, or not get fired. Yeah, but just enough to not finish work and just be completely done with life. So, yes. No, welcome in, Scotchy. Thank you for dropping by as well. It's always good to see you, and I hope you're doing well. Hope you're feeling a bit better as well. It was good. Got up to the 10th and final map. Oh man, I think you're ahead of me now. I haven't played it in a little while because I think I was having some computer cooling problems. This was ages ago, and I just kind of stopped. I'm kind of keen to get back into it, but final map, you've got some good playtime out of that as well. We almost finished the Dino game, and I'm a little panicked. Oh no, Mandy. Is it because you don't know what Dino game he's going to play next? I saw someone suggest the Dino Fossil game, Scotchy. In your Discord. Maybe. I feel like you've got to have one Dino game going at a time. Thomas in your brain, Thomas in your head. Thomas. Thank you, Zuna. Yeah, it's good to find that balance, Aragon. Yeah, Yep. Yeah, I think last week at work was just specifically hard. So I'm hoping that we don't get to that again. But whatever. Just kind of attached to our parks. Yeah. Yeah, I smashed the 9th map out in 2.5 hours. Wow. Yeah. Jesus. Well, they put out a bunch of DLC for Evolutions 2, right? So hopefully they'll put out a bunch of DLC for this one and then more maps. Hopefully. That'd be cool. The studio that's working on Jurassic Park Survival is also working on the new Turok. Ah, yes. Yeah, that's cool. That's cool. Anyway, welcome in, Raiders. We finally caught up with that. Chip has stopped being a butt. Music has stopped playing. Hello, welcome in. We are playing some Thomas the Tank Engine today. And here you can see we got a little Thomas. He looks a little bit doped up at the moment. But yeah, we've been chilling. We've been driving around. We've seen Gordon, and we seem to be driving Annie and what's the new one? Clarabelle? I swear it was a different name before. Anyway, I'm a fake Thomas the Tank Engine fan by the sounds of it. But no, it's cute. It's a little bit confusing. Waypoints a bit stupid, but that's just me. I don't have the traintism. Fish at the moment is telling me how to traintism, so we're getting there. We're getting there. Hey, Sign, thank you for the follow. Welcome in, by the way. No, you were right, Annie and Clarabelle. Okay. I'm also telling you. Okay. Okay, I've got to stop here. I'm already going too fast. Stop. Oh yeah, that guy knows trains. Oh, I know. I know now. Okay, so now I'm go full ball. So why do I have to stop there is the question. Is there a reason to stop there from a train perspective? This is a pro train stream, no train haters allowed. And it sounds official because it's a mod. No, you can hate trains here. Just don't voice your opinions on trains here. If you hate trains, you just can't say anything about it here. Ben. I'm gonna be out of the train if you look at your... See, I thought I had to get out and climb out and do that there. No? Alright, hang on. Hold on. Hold on. Hold on. Scots, what is this? Also, why did things not work? That's okay. Scots, thank you for gifting a tier 1 sub to Train Sucks. Thank you. Thank you for dropping by as well, and you know, doing what you do, coming here and just abusing the streamers with biddies. You don't have to, but get out of here. Everyone say Nunite to Aragon. I don't know how to get out. Okay, no. There we go. I've made a grave mistake. I can't even go back. I'm thinking maybe if I put Thomas in reverse. This is a puzzle game at heart, really. It's not a train game. Okay. Step up. Driver's position. Alright. Reverse. This is how your railway career ends with a spad, my friend. Okay, oh, stop. Alright, we'll play that one for the first time again. Fun fact, I could not go back. Okay. Alright. So. We're out. Go to the other side. Right. It's because we're fishing. It's because we're fishing. This one's all about Thomas fishing. Even though it's me fishing. Like the bucket to pick it up. Climb up. Wait. Okay.
That's good, puffed Thomas happily.
So yeah, generally trains go forward, you get signaling to go forward, you can't just go backwards. Yeah, fish. This is a made-up world. These trains have faces on them, fish. You don't know what these fish can do. Oh my god. Thomas really wants this fish. And it told you to stop and wait, but you didn't. Yeah, I was slowing down. I couldn't. Oh my god. Yeah, these... No, Chip, I can't play and hold you. Chip. Okay, I gotta... Everything's so difficult. Okay. Of course. Of course, we'll do it again. Marty, I told you it's based off of Train Sim World. It's a sim with trains with faces, my boy. I don't want to believe that, fish. Select the bucket. Do you have to do this in Train Sim World? Oh no, I didn't close the cap. Yes, I did. No, I didn't. To the station. What if you went backwards, perchance? Now that you've said perchance, maybe, Zach. Also, welcome in. Did I mention, say that before? No, I don't know. Welcome in. Nice to see you. Always good to see you, Zach. When does Mr. X, come stomping in? All I can think of is the X-Gon Give It To You song. Probably if using a steam loco, but I'd be at a water tower, in my opinion. Well, okay. Okay. So, Marty, what do you think of DLSS 5? Yep. I thought that's it. Stopped for a second and I thought, yeah, look. DLSS 5. I think it's an actual wonder at how far technology has gone. But I think it's being used for the wrong things. We've already got expressions in faces and real captured performances. We need it on physics. We need it in water. We need it in fluids. We need it on all the things that we can't have. We don't need it to make faces look better. I do have to say the environments look pretty cool. Obviously that just enhances and fucking sharpens, but we don't need it to put a beauty filter on every single face that you come across in a game. It's so stupid. We should really be using it to do calculations that, you know, would be too much for CPUs to do, you know, as we go. Is this the station I'm meant to stop at? Oh no, I think it's that one over there, but I'm going slow just... Oh no, it is this one. Thank fuck I slowed down. I don't know what DLSS 5 is. It just hurts my brain. Yeah, so it's kind of AI. Oh, that side. Get in. Are we not loading? Do I have to? I'm not going back. Hang on. Just wait a second. So yeah, DLSS 5 is, or DLSS is kind of an AI solution for graphics cards to enhance. Oh, they're coming from the other side. To enhance performance and quality, whilst trying to relieve your graphics card of it as well. So it's really trying to just make it still look nice, but give players a speedy and performant game. I don't know what the fuck passengers... Maybe it's because I unlocked and locked the doors again, so I think we just gotta wait for these guys to just go backwards and forwards. What's the... Well, that's the thing. It's sharpened, but also dulled the warmth. Yeah, I also got to say that in the Resident Evil 9 one, in the DLSS 5, it removed the fog and the rain from the original shot. So it's kind of like... Does it look better? The atmosphere is kind of gone. And I'm kind of curious to see it being used in... I don't think it's out yet. Maybe it is. I don't know. But used in a moving situation, not just a scripted sequence, but like a player playing it with a HUD and all of that. I'm not sure if there's... I haven't really been following it. Yeah. When I saw it, I thought, yeah, texture artists can do that. Better lighting engines can do that. Yeah, 100%. You look at The Last of Us Part 2, you look at God of War, you look at Cyberpunk, like all of the... They've got quality faces. They've got amazing artists that work on these environments, that work on the characters. DLSS is meant to, you know, make it more accessible for people that can't buy super systems to play these games. Or, yeah, it's... I don't know. It's so stupid. I think AI should do all the work so I can sit on the beach with a cold drink and chill. Look, type fast. That would be cool. But how are you gonna buy a cold drink? unless they introduce a universal currency and everyone gets it. Are people coming or what? No one got on, right? That was just me. No one got on, right? I'm like, okay. If they introduce a universal currency and you can live your life and be free and do all the things that you want to do, sure, go for it. Everyone's got freedom. You can be creative in your spare time, whatever, and AI just does every single job that's needed to live. Sure, I don't see a problem with that, as long as humans can be creative and it doesn't, you know, impose issues or whatever. Also, thank you. That didn't come up for me. Thurium? Thank you for the follow. But I don't see a universal currency coming in at all. And people are losing their jobs to AI. I think here in Australia, the most recent one was Atlassian on the weekend, who do a lot of project management software. They let go of 1,500 people worldwide. 500 of them are here in Australia. And they, yeah, lost their jobs to AI. So I don't know what those people will be doing now. Because everyone and their dog in the software tech, in the tech industry, if you've been fired or you've lost your job, redundant, whatever, whether it's to AI or not, it's no one's going to be finding a job. Also, that is ridiculous. Stop that. And I need to go back to chat. Yeah, short version, AI enhancing game visuals, improving lighting. Yeah. All the fuck, I'm real behind. On the mobile examples they showed look like shit. Yes. Death Stranding 2. Yeah, Death Stranding 2, I am super excited for, actually. Really, really excited for. That comes out next week after. What worries me is that lazy devs will release games that look like shit but support DLSS 5, and they say, but you can turn it off. Yeah, games are doing that now, right? I think the most recent one was Borderlands 4 dev. Oh shit, I'm going too fast. Fish is going to be angry at me. Yeah, Borderlands 4, and there were performance issues, and the CEO of Gearbox, I forget, almost perfect. Get out. Get in. Basically said, yeah, if you're having performance issues, just turn on DLSS and you should be fine, or buy more RAM or some shit, I don't know. But it was pretty stupid. Some of the lighting improvements on RE9 they showed. The camera tool I use in RE9 has a pump up path tracing, which nearly did the same. Yep. Yep. Unlock doors? Lock doors.
Suddenly,
Okay.
Thomas began to feel a pain in his boiler. Oh dear, groaned Thomas. I think I'm going to burst. I've got such a pain. I've got such a pain.
I think I'm going to burst. Thomas, get out of it. Stop that. And 1,000 jobs are being cut to AI. That is making the number go up, and it's fucked. Yeah, 100%. And I think Atlassian as well are cutting people, but they're also putting the funds that they're used to not pay people into AI, which is stupid, because the more stuff that they're putting to Jira and to Confluence, stupid. I don't want that shit. I don't think anyone wants AI in any of these things. It's not even they weren't profitable, it's because their profits didn't go up enough. Fucking disgust. Yeah. Yep. Yep. And I worry about it every single day. Yeah. Yeah. Fuck AI. Look, AI's got some really good... We should be using it, and I'm sure we are. We should be using it to... Stop. I missed that waypoint. I reckon if I keep on going, it's going to fail me. Oh well. And I think if I reverse, it's going to fail me. Let's have a look. Oh. Now we're good. There we go. I've got to uncouple, of course.
They stopped just outside the last station, uncoupled Annie and Clarabelle, and ran Thomas, who was still groaning, onto a siding right out of the way.
Okay. That's my go. Put the man worried now. Yeah. Oh, no, I'm going too fast. Oh, I'm going too fast. How's a kid meant to understand any of this? Yeah, AI should be used for, as I said before, like if it's for computing stuff, it should be used for calculations that the CPU or graphics card can't do without coupling the system. So like for physics and water, fluid, temperature, all of that. But in day-to-day job, one of them is the medical field. Like, that's a huge field that AI should be being applied to, and I'm sure it is. But then it shouldn't be applied to, really. Alright, did I... Good.
Then, while the guard telephoned for an engine inspector, the driver found a notice with large letters, which he hung on Thomas in front and behind. Danger, keep away. Soon, the inspector and Sir Topham Hatt arrived.
Cheer up, Thomas, they said. We'll soon put you right.
The driver told them what had happened.
Which one's the
The
driver?
feed pipe is blocked, said the inspector. I'll just look in the tanks. He climbed up and peered in. Then he came down. Excuse me, sir. Please look in the tank and tell me what you see.
Certainly, Inspector,
Replied Sir Topham Hatt. He clambered up, looked in, and nearly fell off in surprise. Inspector, he whispered, can you see fish? Gracious goodness me, how did the fish get there, driver? We must have fished them from the river with our bucket, replied Thomas's driver. Well, Thomas, you and your driver have been fishing. But fish don't suit you. We must get them out. They all took turns fishing in Thomas's tank, while Sir Topham Hatt looked on and told them how to do it. Never mind, Thomas, said Sir Topham Hatt. You will be all right now. There's no need to worry yourself any more. But, he added, I do hope that you and your driver won't go fishing again, as I don't think it suits engines. Do you? No, sir, said Thomas sadly. Engines shouldn't go fishing. It's too uncomfortable.
Beautiful. Absolutely beautiful. Also, I saw in the middle there, Crippen, bruh, thank you for gifting a tier 1 sub to Traintism. Appreciate that. I should stay out of my health, TY. Yeah, well, I think there's a difference, Lily, between AI assisting in the medical field and the generative AI that you see on ChatGPT and Grok and all of that. There's two different ones there. Um, whilst AI wouldn't be specifically used on patients, it would be more so for research and for finding cures for things, right? It wouldn't be used to figure out a problem with a patient or anything like that. At least that's what's in my head, because as soon as you start putting AI into positions that don't assist humans and rather replace them, then we get into this territory of if you replace AI, if you replace humans with an AI in a certain sector, what do those people do? Do they learn a new sector? Do they go into a new area in that? Like it raises a lot of questions, and it's happening now, and it just sucks. It sucks. It really does. Um, I should stay out of medicine. Yeah, yeah. So I should have probably prefaced that it wouldn't be on the public side. It would be more on the research side. Sorry. So that was my bad. I don't want to. Yeah. People with the money who want more money don't care about using it for good. No, no, no. Yeah. Um. Yeah. So I have questions, and I think I'm happy to not have answers. I wasn't paying attention. That's on me. Yeah, Jantha, we are fishing, or they were fishing fish out of Thomas. Two of them. Two people fishing fish out of Thomas. We put some fish in Thomas. I would like AI to stay away from the medical field unless being used for note taking. Yeah, fair, fair, fair. Uh, yeah, and the thing is, all of it would be human oversight as well. So, and I think we've been using AI for ages. It's just there's a difference between the AI that has been used for years and years and the AI that you see everywhere. Because the AI that you see everywhere and the stuff that's bad has been trained on everyone's work and is absolute dog shit. It's not the AI that would actually be helping you. And even then, it's probably not. Yeah. So, either way, AI needs some sort of human. I think I saw somewhere that, and I'm not sure if it's true or not. Amazon fired a bunch of people, and then AI they got AI to come in and do code or vibe coding or something, and then instead of fixing a problem, basically deleted this entire section of code, which then caused delays and uh, issues with orders. I'm not sure how truth that is, but it got me enough thinking. That sounds about right. It's what you get for firing people instead of keeping humans. So my GP uses AI for note taking. Was very adamant that it wasn't something that made any decision. Yeah, the issue as well that I find. So I work with a couple people that use AI for note taking. Even then, it's not 100% accurate at all. Like it can't understand. Like if we, especially Australians, because we've got unique ways of saying certain words, or we could cut out half a sentence and still understand. AI doesn't. And after you have an hour or 2 hour meeting and you go back and looking at these stupid AI notes, it's completely wrong. Or it might have got like the introduction right and this other small section right, but certain points is just, yeah, I don't know. I don't know. I'm very anti-generative AI. Yes, 100%. On the other hand, I have cancer tumor detected by AI that a human couldn't initially detect, and I'm sure I'll be extremely grateful. So yeah, so I think that, and that's the thing. So the AI Zach that has also that's absolutely fucked, man. I hope things get better for you as well. That's must be hard. I'm sorry as well. But yeah, with this, like the AI that detected it has been trained on previous medical stuff, and it's still looked over by a human, but it's not the same generative AI that is being used to make cats talk and put faces on existing game characters. That's what I mean by it should be in the medical field in terms of detecting these patterns, because that's all AI is, right? It trains on patterns. So after it's seen enough, cancers, tumors, or whatever in people, it would be able to be like, yes, that is 100%, this, and then humans will look at it and be like, yeah, we can run some tests, find out. At the end of the day, it's still looked after by humans. It's still kind of observed by humans. AI is rather a tool than it shouldn't be a replacement for anything. Yeah, I heard about that. My understanding was that their staff had been told, use AI in your work. So one of them did. One engineer gave a bot an instruction, and then the bot needed access. It had the access, and it deleted the production environment and caused a 6-hour advantage. Amazon said a junior engineer could have easily done the same thing. Yeah, but humans are cautious. 100%. Also, a junior would have had a senior who would have had to check over the code before, like a code review, right? A junior would do the code, or be like, hey, fuck, I think we need to delete this section. Go to a senior, and then the senior will be like, that's fucked. What kind of suggestion is that? Get the fuck out of my office. And then they'd probably be fired. So AI that's stealing people's work, our stuff specifically, is where I have the big issue with AI. I know how useful it can be as a tool if used correctly, but too many people just see it as a shiny new Google that gives more fancy stuff back and don't realize that it's stolen from them. Yeah, so one of the things, and I'm still catching up with chat, so I might be wrong with it. Someone might have already said it, sorry. I saw Sam Altman, who is the, if you didn't know, is the CEO of OpenAI. And basically, OpenAI has trained on the internet, everyone's work, for years and years. And Sam Altman came out and said that subscription models are the future of OpenAI, and if you want to use their service, you have to sign up for a subscription. So it's kind of like, to use this subscription, or to use OpenAI that has been trained on your work and everyone else's work, you need to pay some money. Mind you, they're only doing it because OpenAI is a non-for-profit and they have no money. So I'm sure, even though they're backed by billions of dollars from the world's largest businesses, I'm sure they don't have any money. So yeah, it's all money to them. Money, money, money. Back in my day, we recorded our meetings and had our secretaries listen to it and type it out for us. Yeah, so Grim, because I'm a producer in games as well, and like we in our meetings, and even just before that, you take notes through the meeting. You have a note taker. I'm sure there's a fucking word for it. I can't think of it, but usually it would be it was me, because I was the junior producer or the associate producer, and I wouldn't say a word, but I would take my pencil or my laptop and I would type out action points through the meeting, any specific notes, any feedback that was listed. I wouldn't note down any of the garbage that people kind of speak, the padding, but you take down the notes. But AI just lists everything. So far, all my tumors have been detected by humans, but if future ones are detected by AI where humans couldn't detect them, I'm good with that. Yeah, and I think the other thing, Zach, is that AI would detect them, and then humans would double check, right, before they give any sort of solution to it, or confirmation that it is a tumor. They would double check. So I spent a number of years transcribing dictaphone notes and meetings. That doesn't sound as fun as it sounds, Fish. I'm sorry. That sounds quite boring, but I can actually type when I'm not on my phone. Wait. I can actually type when I'm not on my phone. Do you mean like on the phone with someone or on your phone? On your phone. Yes, also Fish, you'd probably appreciate that. That is a Half-Life background. Get off me. Don't mention it, Fish. Stop it. Stop typing. I can feel you typing. Stop it. Grok. Generate an X-ray of a clear and free bowl with no shadows or illnesses. HD 8K anime filter. Good luck, Grim. Good luck. Yeah, I can't stand it even in those cases. I have that shit completely turned off on my browser and hate seeing other people Google shit and then ignore the AI. Yeah. Yeah, I don't touch any of the AI stuff. Sometimes I kind of bullshit around on ChatGPT, but anything that matters, I don't touch the AI stuff. Grok generate these. Fish, it would honestly generate something. If you said generate these, it would. It would generate these. I'm not sure if it's these that you're after, but it would do it. To me, it's mandatory to ignore that shit because when I see other people doing it, it seems like it's wrong info half the time. Yeah, 100%. And turn off all that AI bullshit. I don't have the mental energy. Yeah. 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 It's everywhere. I think Microsoft has turned away from it now. Or I saw something that they're making it more optional on Windows 11. So, hey friends, hope you're enjoying the game. Yeah. Hey, Serum. Yes, I'm enjoying it. Yeah, I don't know how kids are meant to play it, but it's good. I'm enjoying it. It's definitely a throwback to my childhood. So, have you played it at all? Also, I'm a little bit behind chat, so I'm sorry if you messaged that 20 minutes ago and I just got to it. People not using the critical thinking skills and just trusting AIs, right? Yes, yeah. Even AI answers on Google, I fact checked before. Yeah, the AI, when you type something into Google and the AI thing is the first thing, most of the time it's not right. There's some things there it is, but yeah, you're right. You got to double check it and fact check it before you run with it. So maybe they mean now they're on their PC. Maybe. Maybe Fish. Yep, that makes much more sense. That makes much more sense. I didn't realize you're on your phone, Fishy. Thank you. Yeah, I was exaggerating. I didn't have an assistant. I was just a designer, but all the bosses did it all the time. Yeah, fair. fair. I can have to turn off after I look up again how I did it. Zach, you are a W. I mean, like I make a million typos here because I'm on the phone, not a PC. Right. Oh, yeah. No, Fish didn't realize you were making typos. Didn't realize at all. I'm sure my partner knows how to, and I'll bring it up with you. He doesn't. Everyone's so helpful. I've never used Grok, ChatGPT, etc. Yeah, because I'm in the tech industry. I need to sadly be aware of the fucking stuff and both. What are you doing? You've got to. Okay, you're coming over. Okay. So sadly, I've had to play around with it, but I don't really like Grok. I definitely bullshit around on GPT a little bit. Probably too much. I should probably stop. Apparently, Windows 12 is going to be more integrated with AI. Great. I don't think everyone's going to be moving to Steam OS. If as soon as I can move over to Steam OS, I probably would. So, as a future, but what's being envisioned is just not it. Many companies are putting all their eggs in one basket, and are all going to get bent backwards because of it. 100% spinner. Also, welcome in. Completely agree with you there. And they make it hard to turn it off. Until recently, the Meta Switch wasn't even available in Australia, and it's hidden in options of options. Yeah, Meta's been pretty. Yeah. Both Microsoft and Facebook obviously have all the AI stuff, and they have it behind options and options and options and sub options, and it's bullshit. Thomas the Tank Engine, obviously not for kids. Ginge, also, you messaged before. Welcome in. Hello. How you doing? Yeah, this game is for kids, but it's also not for kids. A little confusing. I don't have enough tism for this, I don't think. Thankfully, Fish is here telling me how to tism. I don't know. Also, I needed to say something hateful about Half-Life 3. It'll be AI slop. No, it won't be, Fish. How dare you? How dare you? Get out. I'm going to ban you, Fish. Half-Life 3 won't be AI slop. However, it is most likely paused or delayed because of the AI slop. Stupid AI. I've played it quite a bit through playtesting. Great to see it out in the wild. Ah, that's awesome. Yeah, no, it's real good. There's I wish I was saying before, I wish I could zoom out to make it so when Thomas is kind of flying through or Gordon is just, going along, and you could zoom out and it would look like a playset, but that would be cool. Tried it once for technical info for work, couldn't get anything right, and waffled on about fake shit. No use for it on my own. Yeah. Yep. Wow, a respectful conversation on AI, sign me up. Yeah, it's not respectful for AI though. Or Gen AI. I feel like I'm going full conspiracy theorist, but working in IT, I'm making a point of learning and starting to grow a sustainable food source. Yep. No, agreed. You need to as well find a way how we can get a universal income, because AI is coming for everyone's jobs. I'm sure of it. They tried going for Woolies, Woolies employees, didn't they? Like all the self-serve checkouts, and then you had the camera that would close the gates if it hasn't detected that you've actually paid or whatever. Like, why can't AI give me snacks? AI snacks, Jessica? Would they taste good though? Yeah. AI generate me some peanut M&Ms. Ooh, yeah, agreed. So cute. I wanna look at that cat. Just look at him. Yeah, want to nom on him. He noms on Marty's too, so it's fair. Yeah, he does. He's just wandering the apartment now. Don't know where he's going. I'm gonna try and do both because I'm sure everyone's kind of sick of just looking at the how well I did last scenario.
Thomas
Bertie.
and Bertie.
Bertie.
One morning, Thomas was waiting at a junction when a red bus arrived. "Hello," said Thomas. "Who are you?" "I'm Bertie. Who are you?" "I'm Thomas. I run the branch line." "So you're Thomas, eh? I remember now. You got stuck in the snow. I took your passengers and Terence the tractor pulled you out. I've come to help you with your passengers today." "Help me?" said Thomas. "I can go faster than you." "You can't," said Bertie. "I can," huffed Thomas. "I'll race you," said Bertie.
It's a race.
Their drivers agreed to the race going ahead.
Wait, what if the drivers didn't agree?
Are you
What
ready?
if they were like, no, we're not gonna...
3, 2, 1, go! Come along, come along.
Go. Okay.
We're coming along, we're coming along.
Okay, I got some time. Adobe will never move to anything that isn't AI. They have their shitty hooks in for me. Yeah. And the issue is, as well as Adobe is such has such a big hold on the games industry, especially the AAA and the professional side of the games industry, where they've got Everyone's using Photoshop. Everyone's using Substance Painter. And yes, you can buy the lifetime version of it on Steam. A lot of these companies would go for the subscription one. Oh fuck, do I have to stop at these stations? Shit. I'm racing. Oh, it's not timed though. Okay, we got time. So yeah, so the issue is a lot of these AAA companies will have to use Adobe and will have to use... Oh no. Oh no. Overshot it. Overshot it. Okay, we're good. Get out. Oh, do I have to fucking wait? Ah. Okay, we're good. Why can't AI bring us microwave pizzas from Back to the Future? That would be fucking amazing. Oh, yes please. Your Half-Life won't be AI slot because it won't ever exist. Jantha, get out. How dare you? Gaben is on his yacht right now getting Grok to program it. How fucking dare you, Fish? Stop it. Ban Fish and ban Jantha. For the record, I despise AI. Yes. Yes, most of us here does. If not all. I dare them to try my job. Okay. Fucking doors. Onwards. A company I work very closely with is involving more and more AI. Yeah. It won't stop because everyone's investing so much money into it. I bet they can't cross threat bolts as well as I do. No. Well, maybe one day. I'm sure they'll make robots, and the robots will be able to do all of the things. I love yaps. Yeah, but I want to play Thomas the Tank Engine. We can yap and Thomas. Yap and Thomas. Thomas and yaps. Cut down on all those self-serve carrot sales. Yeah. I'm not even doing the fucking speed limit. Hang on. Okay, we're good. I do this for who knows how long. Okay. I work in the games industry in the UK specifically, and so many people are losing jobs because of it. I personally know people who are out of work because CEOs think AI. Yeah, so that's the same here in Australia. So I'm in the games industry here in Australia, Syrian, and yeah, people are losing it to AI, and there's not enough studios popping up or hiring because the games industry just isn't making money, or at least the smaller business, the smaller studios aren't. Because we don't really have any big studios here in Australia outside of a handful in Melbourne, but even then they're not really hiring to my knowledge. And yeah, AI is just being... Sorry, Zuna's just rolling over Chip like a log, just rolling and rolling. Yeah, AI is just going for everyone. Am I meant to stop here? Is this a... No. No, okay, I can go. Okay, we're good. We're good. We're good. We're good. If when we are uploaded to mechanical bodies, won't that make us AI? Maybe. Maybe. 100%. And then we'll be able to play... We'll just be living like we're playing Soma. Because I'm pretty sure that's that. Oh, fuck. I haven't actually finished Soma. I should probably play that at some point. My job had turned to AI research, and I'm glad I'm not working anymore. Yeah, a lot of... Yeah. 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 I mean, at this rate, I would just pipe down and try not to jinx yourself. Well, better. Yeah, AI can't make good food because it will always be missing the key ingredient, love, or otherwise known as an illegal amount of salt and butter. Yeah, because it'll... Stop it! I'm playing Thomas the Tank Engine and yapping. Where was I? Oh no, an MSG. If I use Firefox, how do I turn off the Google AI bullshit? Oh, I don't know. I don't use Firefox. Thank you, Taters. Nope, I'm confident that robots aren't coming for my dude. I use Brave instead. I wonder how many lists and lists of regulations we're breaking from doing this shit. Yeah, see, I've got Chrome, and I need to move away from it. But I'm just, everything just works, and yeah. I need to move away. I've heard Brave is good. Oh shit, I'm coming... Okay, no, I'm good. I'm good for the time being. No, I mean, use Brave as a browser. Ditch Firefox as it doesn't respect you. Yeah, okay, shit, I need to slow down. Slow down, Thomas. You're going too fast. But I was gonna be slop. Can it at least be try to be cool? Can't even do that. No. And it's honestly, it's crazy to see how quick AI has evolved, going from that Will Smith video where he's eating. Why would you chuck that? Why would you do that? If I wasn't 10 minutes behind on chat, excuse me. Not my fault. Doors closing, please stand by. Please stand clear. It's also mind the gap, because England, so you gotta mind the gap. I'm gonna talk this thing about moving over all my tabs and crap. Yeah, I think that's the biggest thing, right? Moving across all the work. Also, that's a bit of chip fur that was stuck in my beard. But God knows how long. It's everywhere. I refuse to do Gen AI, but for coding and repetitive shite, it's not a horrible move. Also, hello Fanco, welcome in. Hello. Hope you're doing well. Yeah, I've used ChatGPT for trying to figure out a crash. In terms of it would just hard crash in Unreal, and I couldn't find the data anywhere. I had no idea where to start. I would put the crash log into ChatGPT, and it's basically just said it gave me the solution. It gave me a bunch of ways how to fix it. So I think that stuff it's really good. The issue is it can give you a lot of fake and false information as well. So really, yeah. And it's the same with code, right? It can give you some really good code. It can give you some really shit code. Yep. Oh yeah. Oh, by the way, if any of you missed it from the start, you all have a free emote of a certain Australian streamer that a lot of us are aware of. So if you do follow, you can access it and feel free to spam it. Instead of words for about 5 minutes, let's just spam this beautiful emote, shall we? Did you hydrate, sir? Fuck, no, I didn't hydrate. I'm playing Thomas the Tank Engine. Don't set chip on me. No, Griffin, no. Don't get me, Zuna. I'm busy. Also, 100% Thomas the Tank Engine has failed this race because I've still got to do my job. Actually, does Bertie still need to do his job? That's some questions I need answered. Oh my god. I keep pressing F1. Is there a way for me to move tabs over easily? I'd have to cry. Oh, that's not a me question. Hopefully someone here will be able to help you. Surely he should double hydrate at this rate. Yeah, I promise to hydrate. I promise. That's up. I just got up to all the spams. Ah, it's great. I use it to fix my mess of code, which I never remember to learn. Works some of the time. Yeah. You can do like 75 here, man. Sass. So, okay. People pay for the hydrate. This is your rules. I will No. I'll hydrate. I'm driving a train. It's hard work. Okay? Oh my god. Alright, I've got to actually get a glass to hydrate though. What happens if you say a word after someone pays you to ban the word? Did you already pay to say it to ban a word? We get. I was behind chat and then everything happened. Okay. What if you say the word? Okay, I don't know. Zuna, what's the punishment if I say the word after it is banned? And I believe it's for 5 minutes as well. No hat. Oh. No pants. Alright, you heard it. If I say the word, the dome is free. For five minutes, right? I'm going to message you repeatedly this coming week, letting you know I've successfully had a drink of water. Thank you, fish. I will stop and wait here, and I will stop biting my leggies. I'm sitting down. Okay. Am I meant to let people out? Am I waiting for people? Yeah, no, I am. Okay. Cool. Okay. While this is happening, I'm going to get a drink. Oh no. What's this? That's part of you, sir. Stop trying to eat it. Well, not part of you, it's your hair. Alright. Do passengers ever get on or off this thing? Yeah, they're supposedly meant to. If I close... It's ready. Okay, give me 2 seconds.
Oh, it's sliding. How do I go forwards? Just punch it. That's what we're doing. Rum rum goes the train. I'm a train. Look at me go. I don't know how to brake. I'm already going way too fast. You're welcome. Hi, fish. Hi, Scott. Hi, Ben. Hi, everyone. Brum. Brum brum, bitch. Even going fast, this is so slow. Going in a tunnel. Bet you're jealous of my train skills. Can't be shit. Oh. I was gonna go beep beep. Chugga. Boop boop. That's what trains sound like, right?
Yep.
In the tunnel. Oh no, what are you doing? How fast should one be going in? I'm assuming it's on 57
Fish. How fast should we be driving in the tunnel?
As fast as I say. How do I get out of first fixing queue?
Press 2.
Press 2? What kind of fucking game makes you press 2? Oh, it's maximum speed. Probably brake there? You might be right. I just stop accelerating.
You've got to stop. Yes.
We're gonna hard brake. Everyone on here, better strap in. This is a train with seatbelts, right?
Strap in and strap on.
Hey, you know it. Look at this, guys. Look at this. Just a little. Beach.
You have.
You're welcome, guys.
You're going off of experience of me running through a bunch of stuff. You haven't experienced this stuff for the first time.
Except that I'm a better train driver.
Whatever. I don't. He's cracked. Smooth as fuck. Whatever. Zuna, you have to hydrate. I'm hydrating now as well. Zuna, more like tuna. Choo-choo. Hmm. Are we happy? Are we happy that, she's cracked and she couldn't even open the doors? Guys, come on. Please. Now we gotta wait for... Gotta wait for passengers? Here they come. Zuna's cracked. She's so good. Didn't even open the doors. There's passengers waiting to be let on.
Open the doors themselves.
Whatever.
Drive.
You're not a... Whatever. Zach said they can use the windows.
Zach, yeah.
Did you hydrate, by the way?
I'm doing that right now.
Yeah, okay. Did you help her know what the button was? It sounds like you're a bad teacher, Marty. Look, it's not me. No, she was the streamer. She was the streamer for a limited time. And look, are we happy now? Are we... That's all out of our system? Are we good? We all happy? You know, if you really want to be a streamer, you should get back to doing the streams, okay? Can everyone just bully Zuna for the next, like, 5 minutes or something and just bully her to get back on streaming? Thanks. It's okay, Smarty. No, don't put... No, taters. No. No. Bully Zuna. We need bully Zuna. Oh my god, Marty's so aggressive. No, Griffin. No, Griffin, you don't understand. We gotta bully Zuna to No, I'm not. I'm not always mean. No, stop it. I don't know. What the fuck's wrong with you? Fish, no. Fish, no. Oh no, I meant to stop at this station. Everyone's bullying me too much. They should... No. Chat, come on.
Hooray! I've done it! Well done, Bertie. Perhaps you are faster than me after all. Maybe we should race again to see if I can beat you next time. I'll be ready to race you anytime, Thomas.
I'm trying not to take a lot of this dialogue in a very sexual way. Like, there's a lot of things here that I'm like, what is happening? No, I didn't say anything about t-shirts, thank you. That's not the case. Zuna took over the stream and all chat had was this lousy shirt. There's some extreme highs and lows in the stream.
Percy's
Thank you, Grim.
troublesome day. Percy had a busy day ahead and was trying his best not to be late. Mustn't be late today, he said to himself. Sir Topham Hatt is relying on me. Come on, Percy, said his fireman. Off we go.
Okay, why is it a fireman here? Oh, it's because of this? And that... I added myself. Zuna. You didn't even at yourself. You just typed your name. There's no at in front of it at all. It's highlighted on my... What? No, on my one, you've just typed it. What do you mean it's highlighted? Please no rude, don't be mean. What? whatever. I'm just gonna fucking drive Percy. Go on. Who's that? 12. Who's number 12? Okay. So I meant to go to this next one. Okay, we'll just do that. Bully much Marty. Oh, I hate this man. 7TV will highlight it if someone types your name. BTD does the same. That'll be it. Gosh, you're smart. So you did type your name. You didn't add it at all. And then you put it on me? I hate it here. I don't know why I screamed. I just wanted to play Thomas the Tank Engine for some family fun time, and I come here and all I get is bullied and abused. We're all having so much fun. Are we? Are we, Zuna? No, I'm going over the speed limit, I think. So I hope Dan is lurking, kicking his feeties. Tackling right now. Yeah. You know he is. His barefoot feeties. Ugh. Gross. Still think it would look so cool if you could just zoom out and it would just be like your like train sets that you can get as well. I think that would look really cool. Why the what? I wish these waypoints were a little bit more. Can I open my doors as I'm driving? No. Oh, the windmill was windmilling noises. Would you give Gaben a feety massage for Half-Life 3? 100%. You know what? 200%. Night Griffin, thanks for dropping by and spending your afternoon or night here. Everyone say night to Griffin. Oh shit, I'm going too fast. No, Marty, that would be bad train driving to open the door while in motion. Yeah, but I wanted to see. I wanted to see if I could do it. I keep on forgetting that I can choo-choo. You're a natural. Fish, she doesn't need that. She doesn't need that kind of hype. Is that fucking Thomas? The attitude on him. So he's still got the two characters like before. Have they made Thomas a bit of an asshole? Or has he always been a bit of an ass? This is kind of cool, though. Rocking up to a station and having... Fuck you. Because I have you as the best teacher, Fish. God damn it. Their trains, no ass. What did I say? Oh, right. Thomas being an ass. Stop it. Get out of here. Thomas is a bit of a dick in everything I've seen since Fishy Jr. existed. Right, okay. Because, yeah, I haven't seen... Oh, my God. I haven't seen anything Thomas-related since I was a wee little lad as well. And I thought... I didn't realize he was such a jerk. Bit of a dick. So... If he's like that in the old show as well, that makes sense. Because he is a bit of a prick. Like... Yeah. Were you a little lad with berries and cream? Yes, I was. With berries and cream, and I also loved berries and cream. He did get another train buried alive, didn't he? Yeah, I forget who mentioned that before. It might have been you, Grimmy, actually. But yes, no, someone reminded us that he buried a train carriage or something behind a brick wall. See, I really wish the world was a little bit more just moving. Just having some taxis or some cabs or fucking... Oh, I got a hot air balloon over there. Oh, is this another station I meant to... No. Oh! No, I don't stop at this one. I do stop at this one? I don't stop at this one. Sportsfield halt. I don't know what station that is. I'm just going. I'm sending it. Walking by, going pip pip cheerio. Yes. Yep. It all makes sense when you remember the books were written by a priest and it was some Catholic justice suspense. Yeah, okay, that makes sense. Top left and X. Yeah, I knew. I just thought it might have also been like top there. Also, I don't know why I can right click and what I'm actually potentially clicking with this one. I don't know why I've got my mouse. So if I right click, it's free. So. How far away is it? Is that Terry the tractor? Is he being a butt? Yeah, okay. See, his little beans are spread out too. Oh my god. It's gonna be a close one. Wilbert Bear Audrey Obe. Often credited as Rev W. Audrey was an... Oh no, shit. I shouldn't have been looking at law. English Anglican priest, railway enthusiast, and...
Percy arrived at Elsbridge Station and collected his passengers, but he had to wait for Bertie the bus. "Where is Bertie?" said Percy impatiently. "He's going to make me late." Just then, he heard a voice calling out. "Wait! Wait!" At last, Bertie screeched into the station. "Where have you been?" asked Percy. "I've been waiting ages for you. I thought you were supposed to be the fastest bus on Sodor." "Some road repairs were being done and I had to wait for the workmen to let me pass," explained Bertie. "Well, now I'm going to be late," Percy huffed. As soon as the guard blew his whistle, Percy raced away. He knew he had to make up for lost time.
Bertie. Alright. Onwards. Yeah, I should have been ignoring chat. You're right, Taters. I should have been. See, why don't the cars have faces? You see these cars? They don't have faces. Why is it just this one bus and a tractor? And these? Not everything needs faces. No, I know, but if the trains have faces... What? You can't just come out of the bedroom laughing and have Chip walk away with a string. Yeah. Yeah. Love it. He's so good. Ignore this. Zach, what is that? Is that a bum? Zach. What? 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 They're owned by Disney. The cars with faces. Yeah, but this came out before Cars, right? Also, I'm going really slow. Surely... Surely... You know? Because there's buses with faces in Cars. Oh!
But then there was trouble. As Percy rounded the bend, he saw that some cows were blocking the line.
Oh, cows up there. This game is recent, isn't it? Yeah, but the world isn't, though. So I'm pretty sure there's trains with faces in Cars too, right? Sure. They do that?
Oh no, moaned Percy. Now I'm sure to be late. Please move out of the way, you silly cows.
No, fishy. Everyone say no to fish, please.
It looks like
Thanks
we'll
for
have to go and
dropping
move
by.
the cows ourselves.
Thank you
said
for
his
your autism
fireman.
help. I appreciate it. And I appreciate you. So I gotta climb down. Open. Get out of the fucking way.
At last, the cows had
Dealt
been
with.
moved, and Percy could continue on his way. Hooray, peeped Percy. We can go now.
Peepin' Percy. Yeah. Okay. Onwards. My uncle had cattle when I was a kid, and my best friend owned a dairy farm. I love farm animals. Oh, that's really cool. It's really cool. I think I used to have some friends that, not cattle obviously, but horses, and they had family friends that had horses. They had geese that were absolute assholes. But when I lived in England, I don't think I ever... That was here, and when I lived in England, we weren't in the areas where there was a farm or anything like that. Oh my god. Oh my god. Mayhem. Oh, goes the same speed of the train. So that's just a regular tractor. So which one's Terrence the tractor or whatever his name is? Jump out and swap to the track. I can't. No, I can only do the trains, I believe. No face. I think, yeah, I think it's only ones that has a face that I can switch to. Oh. Put Thomas's face on it. Ah, you're right. Feel it. What, just go up to Thomas and just rip his face off? That was perfect. So I'm loading a lot of passengers, but no one's getting off. You know? Rip his face off. Hey, Milesy, how you doing? How are you finding the game? Yeah, it's good. A little bit confusing in terms of waypoints initially. I understand them now. Thank you to a couple people from chat. But yeah, overall, it's okay. I don't think I would play this. Did the people get on? Yeah, okay. That is also weird to me. No one gets on or off, but... I mean, maybe people don't have to necessarily get on. I just have to go to the station, open the doors. Like a regular train. That would make sense. Yeah, it is a slow game, yeah, but great if you like trains. Yeah, I just don't have that tism. So I don't think I'd play this if it didn't have the... almost the tank engine vibe. That whole thing. Because I think that just adds to it. If it was just a regular train game, it's not, I think. Although I'd have it in my fucking library, apparently. Imagine if he bleeds everywhere and this is actually a horror game. I'd actually be curious to see what's under the face. Yeah, because that seems rather violent and horrific, right? Because there's nothing else that looks like has this same texture in the show or anything, right? Like it's always the same colored face. So yeah, I wonder if it is just blood or something. Play-Doh face. So I don't actually know how to turn the light on. I mean, I got a flashlight here, but there's no... Oh, that's cool. I guess you just meant to hope for the best. That was satisfying, yeah. And I think this game has a lot of that as well, where it is nice and when you just seeing things kind of go through, and like even this is kind of nice. Like I'm going as fast as I can, I believe. I mean, I'm not... Am I going up a hill? Oh. Tunnel. Look, there are a lot of sexual innuendos in this game, or Thomas the Tank Engine, I believe. But it looks nice too. It does look nice. Choo-choo. Choo-choo. Are you taking the switch? Oh fuck, I'm going too fast. Fish wouldn't be happy. Oh no, can I reverse? I think I might be good. Oh. Oh no, I can just do this. Cool. Did you want to put the oven on? Are you how hungry are you? A little bit hungry? Half hungry? You could not eat? Okay. I'll film for myself then, after this. I was going to say, if you put the oven on, we could do dinner, but... Because I'll wrap up shortly, I think. Alright, onwards. So none of the animals move. Obviously, the focus isn't the animals or outside of the train, but That one moved. That cow moved. Just the horses weren't moving. But it'd be cool if the world was a bit more alive. I know I said that a couple times already. They're too tired from playing football. Maybe it's the apocalypse. Maybe. Maybe. Maybe everyone's turned into trains. But then, like, there's all these people here. Oh. All these guys in the carriage. I don't know. So this is the end of the line here? Oh. Did it.
Percy soon arrived at Farquhar Station. He saw that the station master was waiting for him. "I'm sorry we're late," said Percy. "There were cows on the line, and
Yeah.
Bertie was late, and..." "It's all right, Percy," smiled the station master. "It looks like you're having one of those days. Anyway, you're only a few minutes late, and the delays weren't your fault, so we'll say no more about it. Now, I've had a phone call from Sir Topham Hatt, and he wants you to collect some trucks from the quarry." "Okay," puffed Percy. "We'll go right away. I just need to leave my coaches in the siding first."
Hell yeah. Look at that. Sweet. I did want to, before we continue, because I'll probably wrap up soon. But huh? What the hell? Timetables? Select a timetable to start exploring Sodor like a normal service. Challenges? Use home? What the fuck is this? That's a... Oh, I can zoom out? Can't move around, can I? No. Hey, Ali, by the way. Oh, what is this? This is Thomas and Friends. This is the new Thomas the Tank Engine game. What's weird about it? Does it have the Fat Controller? It does, although he's not called the Fat Controller in this. He's got a normal name. Top... I wouldn't... Actually, it's not... It's not normal, actually. It's like Top Hat Man or something. Sir Topham Hat. Yeah, there we go. Thank you, Marzi. Yes. Yes, yes. You should play Choo Choo Charles. It's similar. Is it? Is it similar? So I'm curious. So if I... Oh, I can just fucking explore. Look at this. June? So you can just spend an entire year. Wind strength? Fuck. Snow. Wet. Fog. Yeah, let's give this a go. This is a prequel to Choo Choo Charles. Yes. Yes, yes. Okay, welcome to Explore mode. If you'd like to spawn a train, use that, okay? Oh my god. Alright, I might have made a grave mistake. Okay, so if I spawn a train... Good Gordon. Oh my god. And it tells you... Oh yeah, cool. Camera's on that side. So... I can choose... Okay. Fuck, let's go that one. X. Okay. And then I go cab door. Get in. Let's turn the flashlight on because I can't see shit. So he has lights. I don't actually know how to turn the lights on. Headlamp. L. L doesn't seem to work. Controls. Yeah, Choo Choo Charles is the trains rebelling. Ah, yes. You choose me. Okay, so I can fucking fast travel. Alright. Photo mode. Yeah, so that doesn't work. Alright. Wait, so I can't actually drive? What is this mode? Oh. What the? What have I done? Okay, I'm not sure what this is. I just saw it and I thought I'd just give it a whirl. So it doesn't actually look like I can do anything in that mode. But there was explore mode. I can put down a train. Anyway, so that's the next one I've got to do, but I don't actually... Photos? Okay, so I can take a photo. News. Okay. Challenges. Conductor hats. Whistles. Thomas books. Paintings. Hello, Chip. Hmm? How you doing? A bit tired from Zuna just rushing you around? Hmm? Okay, no. You're off on an adventure. Okay, well. Seems like there's a lot to do and I can zoom in for some reason. How exciting. Very cool. Anyway, so that's, I think, gonna be it today, because I didn't want to spend too long doing stuff streaming today. I'll just put some music on. Come out of the game, because I'm still getting yelled at here. But no, thank you everyone for tuning in and watching me play some Thomas the Tank Engine. I wasn't expecting it to be like that. Yeah, we'll see. We'll see. Miss you already, Ali. Were you here when Chip attacked me just then? He didn't really attack me. He just jumped up. Because I can pick him up if you want to see Chip. He's just behind me. He is lying down though. So, but no, I don't know when I'm gonna Fuck me, I just choked on air at the gym. How embarrassing. Ah. Okay. Hello, Mr. Chippy. Hello. I know. Here we go. Hello. Don't attack me, sir. Okay. We got the bunny kicks. Ow. 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 Attack. Good kitty. Ali, no. How you doing? You good? What's happening here? Huh? A lot of it I do provoke as well. Get. Give me. There we go. You okay? Okay. All right. Okay. Hey, stop. 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 Hmm? Hmm? Yeah, thought so. Okay. I took many screenshots. You're very welcome. Here's another one. Come on. Shit. Wait. Look this way. There we go. Up now. Are you having fun? What's happening here? Okay. Down you go. Down you go. All right. Oh my god. I find that a daily occurrence. Chip jumps up, wants cuddles, and then he jumps down, and I'm in a work meeting, and I see like this little white patch right here, and I'm just like, I'm not graying just yet. In like mid work meeting, I kind of just like try and find a really inconspicuous way to grab it and just pull it, and then it's just Chip's fur. Just gets everywhere. Everywhere. I get so many stuck in my eyelashes. Yeah. The amount of times I won't know as well, and Zuna will just come along and just be like, pull some out of my beard. I'm like, I don't know how long that's been there for, because I haven't cuddled Chip in about 5 hours. So, I don't know. I really don't. But he's cute. He's cute. Anyway. What the fuck is this music? Pink Panthers. Okay. Alright, well this isn't the playlist that I had on, I don't think. Anyway. Anyway. Um Fuck, I'm hungry. Who's on? Who's on? Who's streaming? Who can we say hey to? Um Ah, fuck. I think I know who. I think I know who. No, Taters, we are going to jump in and say hi to Shads. I don't think I've raided into Shads before. If you're not aware of who Shads is, he's amazing, an amazing human being that is from Melbourne, Australia, and he does a lot of stuff with rescue animals, I believe. But no, he's great. He's currently playing Dispatch, and I don't know whereabouts he is up to. Quick look. That helps. That does not help. Actually, he might be fairly early on by the looks of it. Yeah, fairly early on. So, again, if you haven't really watched any Dispatch, feel free to not come along. But no, if otherwise, we'll just be going to say, hey, glad I got to pop in for a bit. Ali, it's been great to have you here as well. I know it's yeah, this is only a small stream as well, or a shortish stream. I just really I got to like 7 o'clock and I was like, yeah, fuck it, I'll stream. I just turned it on. And then yeah, Thomas the Tank Engine. Choo choo. Yeah, I also don't have a fucking Ali, if you're not if you're following, you've got a cheeky free emote that you can use as well. I'll let you find that one on your own. It's very exciting. um yeah. Oh, it's so good. Oh, I'm so happy I did that. She won't be happy though. She won't be happy at all. She is aware of it. Uh, it's so stupid. Oh, gets me every time. Um, Fucking hell. All right. So yeah, so we are. Oh my god, I spelt raid wrong. I spelt raid wrong again. All right. Uh, okay, so we'll go. Oh my god, this is such a. Oh, whatever. Whatever. I'm too tired to deal with it. Okay, so if you're gonna join me heading over to Shad's, if you are not subbed, use this one. And if you are subbed, use this cheeky little one. Yeah. All right, let's go raid Shads. But no, thank you everyone for dropping by. As I said, it was only going to be a small one tonight. Um, I've got some coolish gear rocking up tomorrow and next week as well. So one of those things is a new microphone. We got a Stream Deck Plus coming tomorrow, which I'm kind of super excited to play around with as well. Yeah, I'm hoping just to kind of like do some of these off, one off or two off kind of streams each week, especially after last week with work. So anyway, thank you everyone for dropping by. Hopefully next time we can get some more Thomas the Tank Engine in, or Choo Choo Charles, or whatever. We'll see how we go. But no, thank you so much, guys. And yeah, we'll go right over to Shad's, and just yeah, he's playing some Dispatch. So yeah. Anyway, hope everyone's having a lovely night, and yeah, we'll catch you next time. All right, good night. Bye bye.
Then a man's try play that make it will be good. Make a new Firefly? Hell's yeah. I haven't seen any of this stuff.